Alright everyone, it's the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time to rank the roller coasters at Six Flags Magic Mountain right here on Theme Park Crazy. Let me start by saying that this is by far my favorite Six Flags park. The epic scope and scale of the park was like nothing I've ever seen in the chain, and the fact that it was just packed to the gills with roller coasters really made this a must visit for me. Everywhere you turned there was a roller coaster, and you bet I rode as many as I could. Now I wasn't able to ride Apocalypse or West Coast Racer since that whole area is under construction, but I'm sure I'll be back sooner than later, so I'll be sure to make a full ranking video once I do return. But enough of the introduction, let's get into what you came here for. First of all, I won't be talking about the kiddie coasters since I really didn't have that much to say about them. I'll certainly talk about them in a future list video, but here I wanted to go over my more memorable first impressions. So let's start off at the bottom of the list with Gold Rusher, a mine train by American manufacturer Aerodynamics. Here's what I initially thought.
Just got off of Gold Rusher, and I gotta say that's one of the stronger aero mine trains I've ridden. I love how it goes on the side of the mountain, I love how long it is, I like the near miss effect with the second lift hill on the first drop, and I love the little bit of airtime you get on the final brake run over there. So I definitely recommend this one for families. Great family coaster.
I admit, I have a soft spot for these aero mine trains. I also love the unique vista points. These include a look at Full Throttle's loop, and a look under the launch track of Superman Escape from Krypton. Thankfully it wasn't running when I passed under it. I'm pretty sure my ears would have hurt from how loud that coaster is. Plus, the ride as a whole actually has quite a bit of greenery surrounding it. Lots of trees, lots of shrubs, and the ride was pretty relaxing overall. I gotta say, I got a kick out of it. Number 12 is the New Revolution. Here are my first thoughts.
Just rode the New Revolution, and I gotta say, that was a pretty good ride to start off on. Like, if you've never done inversions before, it's just got that one loop, and it's not as forceful as some of the other Schwarzkopfs I've ridden, but I gotta say, it's a really good terrain coaster, great ride for the families, and I think you're really gonna enjoy it.
One thing I didn't elaborate on was the build up to the vertical loop. This was the best part of the ride by far. You head into this loop on a long and not very steep hill, slowly gaining momentum along the way. Just when you doubt you're going fast enough to complete the loop, you go right through it. And like other Schwarzkopf rides, that loop is pretty intense. The fact that the first steel vertical loop of all time still holds up today is astounding, and it just goes to show that Anton Schwarzkopf was really ahead of his time. Next, let's talk about Superman Escape from Krypton. And yes, I know ranking it outside my top 10 is gonna cause quite a debate in the comments section. Now before I show my reaction, keep in mind that I initially rode it in the back row.
So, I just rode Superman. I don't know, I didn't really feel that much on that one. I guess I prefer forwards launches. Backwards launch, I don't know, I didn't really feel it. And the launch was very gradual, because it's a very long launch. And then when you get up and you go backwards, and the drop down, I mean, it was alright, but I don't know, I didn't really feel much on that one. I don't know if I'm like going insane or something, but I thought it was just alright.
Again, this was just after riding it in the back row. As I said, I thought it severely lacked intensity and didn't live up to its stats. Later in the day though, I decided to ride up front, and while I still had my criticisms, it was an overall improvement. The unobstructed view makes the ascent and descent a lot more exciting, as there is nothing in front of you but the track. Also, the wind in your face on the way down considerably added to the coaster's fun factor, and I had a good time. Unfortunately, I still thought the reverse launch was kind of lacking, especially since the ride is just a simple upward spike with no inversions or variety. To be fair though, I've heard that the ride experience on this one varies constantly. Sometimes the train goes much higher, sometimes the launch is more forceful. It's one of those rides that I may rank differently on my next visit, but my ride paled in comparison to other launch coasters, so for now, I'm gonna put it on the lower end of my rankings. Number 10 is the infamous Viper. Now I know this ride has a pretty bad reputation among enthusiasts, but hear me out.
So I rode Viper, and I gotta say, it wasn't that bad. I mean, yeah, it was rough. It did bump me around a few times. There were a couple of spots that were a bit uncomfortable, but I mean, compared to what I've heard about this ride, it was a little better than I expected. I dare even say some parts of the ride were pretty fun. There's some really good airtime right before the mid-course. And overall, I mean, if you want to try this ride, I say go for it.
I was honestly surprised I didn't come off with a headache. Oftentimes I would brace myself for the inversions, only to realize that they weren't that rough. In fact, they were pretty fun to be honest. I could see why so many people dislike this ride, and I agree it has a few rough spots here and there, but that certainly didn't make it irredeemable in my book. Not to mention, the ride probably gave me the best photo I got on my trip. I actually have it as the wallpaper on my phone. Sometimes low expectations make you see the positives a lot more. Next up is Ninja Hi-Ya at number 9. It sounds crazy, but I actually thought this was more forceful than Superman.
So I just rode Ninja in the back row. This is an aerodynamic suspended coaster. And I gotta say, that was really fun. It was actually a little bit intense too. Like, it sends you all around the side of this hill, and you also get a great view of the construction of West Coast Racers. So that's gonna be really exciting when that opens up. And overall, if you love these old aero suspended coasters, I highly recommend checking this one out.
You just go zooming through this layout, from the moment you leave the lift hill all the way until the final lift hill into the station. Every bank turn is a roaring good time. You're pretty much guaranteed to have a blast. This ride is a ton of fun, and it made me wish there were more aero suspended coasters out there. Number 8 is Scream, a B&M floorless coaster.
Alright, so I just rode Scream. I gotta say, pretty good floorless coaster. I mean, I love Bizarro, so this one is a mirror image of it. I did find this one to be a bit smoother. Bottom of the first drop is outstanding, and you love B&M floorless coasters, check this one out. It's a good one.
It's smooth, packed with forceful inversions, and it has a long, well-paced layout. It's a must-ride for floorless coaster fans for sure. Compared to Bizarro though, the latter has far superior theming. Without the themed elements, the ride didn't feel as memorable. Plus, it's on a parking lot and there is no scenery. On a side note, due to maintenance reasons, the ride was only running one train, so the line did get pretty long, but with the extra time in line, I was able to find the old Cyclone trains from the station. Now that was pretty cool. At number 7 is Batman the Ride, and I don't know why or how, but this Batman clone was far superior to the other ones I've ridden.
I just got off Batman, and that was definitely my favorite Batman model of all time. I don't remember this model being that fast, but this one was. It was so intense. And they usually are intense, but I don't know, this one, it just cranked it up to 11 for me. I don't know why, maybe it's running especially well today, but Batman the Ride is a definite high mark for me, high thumbs up.
This thing just hauled its way through the layout. Maybe I just rode it on a good day, but wow, this thing was just epic. The inversions will send the blood rushing to your feet, and by the time you get off, you may very well be surprised with how great this ride was. Overall, if you love inverted coasters, this one is right up your alley. Number 6 is Goliath, a Jovanola hypercoaster. My reaction was as followed.
Just got off Goliath, and I actually really like that. I like that a lot more than I thought I was going to. And I might have liked it more than Titan, believe it or not, at Six Flags Over Texas. I don't know, that first drop was so astounding. I rode in the second to back row, and it was insanely smooth, I gotta say, also. And there's that little airtime hill right over there. And you actually get some pretty good floater airtime there. I mean, of course, it's a Jovanola Hyper, so you're not going to get nearly as much airtime as B&M Hyper, but overall, I give that a thumbs up.
I'm still a bit torn whether I like this or Titan more, but on its own, I can see why this coaster is so popular among park guests. With the exception of that admittedly slow mid-course brake run, the rest of the ride is fast, thrilling, and surprisingly forceful. It didn't have the upwards helix Titan had, but it still had that crazy downward helix. And yes, I grayed out on it. I had my hands up practically the entire time, and while I still prefer B&M Hypers, I could easily see myself marathoning this. Some say Goliath is forceless, but I say it gets a thumbs up. Now it's time for the top 5, and number 5 is Riddler's Revenge. Yes, a stand-up coaster made my top 5 at this park.
I just rode Riddler's Revenge, and there might be some debate about this, but I gotta say that is the best stand-up coaster I've ever ridden. It's intense, it's long, the elements are great, and it's extremely smooth, especially for a stand-up coaster. I didn't even bang my head once, and I'm being serious. So this thing, even if you don't like stand-up coasters, I recommend giving this one a shot, especially in the front row. I think you'll be surprised.
Yes, I love this coaster. I have never had so much fun standing up on a roller coaster in my entire life. In my opinion, it's a good thing this park has Scream, because I actually don't want this coaster to get a floorless conversion. I don't know why, but the stand-up feature made it a lot better than it would have been if it were floorless. Even if you can't stand these kind of coasters, I'd say give it a shot. Number 4 is the one and only Full Throttle. A lot of enthusiasts say this ride is too short, but here's what I think.
Wow, so Full Throttle, you know, that may be short, but it's like a white chocolate raspberry cupcake. It's short but sweet, very sweet. It's smooth, it's amazing. That loop right there, you get such incredible hang time on it. And that view of like the upside down skyline, it's so memorable, and wow, awesome ride in general.
There's just so much to love about this coaster. That loop alone is worth the wait, and you get so much hang time at the peak that you almost feel like you're going to roll back. The back-to-back dive drop and reverse launch is also a great feature, seasoning up the layout and making the ride more than just a one-trick pony. Then after reaching the top of the loop, you'll be shot out of your seat as you drop downwards. Yes, the brake run does start at the drop, but the insane airtime I got descending it made the brakes practically irrelevant. Kudos to the designers for fitting something so memorable into such a small space. Taking the bronze is Tatsu. How fun is this flying coaster? Let's ask myself from a few weeks ago.
Just rode Tatsu, and that is without a doubt the best B&M flyer I've ever ridden. The elevation really adds to it, like you see for miles. It's built on the side of this mountain, so the experience is just unbelievable. This thing is amazing. What more can I say about it?
Well, I didn't bring up the pretzel loop, and I really should have. Out of all of the pretzel loops I've ridden, this one is by far the most intense. I grayed out on it yet again, and you're literally going to want to brace yourself for this element. As I've stated, the view is spectacular, and those of you afraid of heights may want to sit this one out. You feel like you're soaring over the park, with the enormous mountains in the distance. It was a dreamlike experience. No flying coaster is as good at giving an authentic flying experience as this one. Tatsu is amazing. Taking the silver is X2. 2 words, holy Shrek. Here's my reaction.
Okay, I just got off X2 and wow, it's been quite some time since I've ridden something that intense. If you love intense rides, you gotta do that. It shows no mercy whatsoever. I need a few deep breaths after riding that, honestly. That was absolutely insane. Aerodynamics did a fantastic job with it, and oh my god, there's so much I could say about this ride. It's unbelievable. I mean, that first drop, it faces you straight down like Falcon's Fury, and you really pick up speed at the bottom of that. And then of course you've got that amazing, I guess you could call it a dive loop or an Immelman, I can't tell it. You know, you lose your entire sense of direction with this ride. It is that good.
Yes, this ride left me practically speechless. I swear I could make an entire video on how psychotic X2 is. The rotating seats add so much intensity to the already menacing layout. The whole ride is an endurance test of intensity, but be warned, the Raven turn at the end is absolutely brutal, so be sure to keep your head back. Otherwise, it could uncomfortably slam into your seat. Also, sit on a seat closer to the track. That makes it much smoother. By the way, if you want to purchase the shirt I'm wearing here, you can view my merchandise below this video, or head to my Teespring shop in the description. Your purchase will support this channel. Some say this coaster is too rough to be good, but if you keep your head back, you'll be able to fully appreciate this masterpiece. Finally is Twisted Colossus taking the gold medal at number 1. And as you're about to hear, I had a lucky ride here.
So I just got off my first ride on Twisted Colossus, and it actually dueled. I am so thrilled. That was incredible. Like, I'm sure it's an amazing RMC even without the dueling feature, but that dueling feature added a whole nother level to it. That was just incredible, if I could get it in the shot right there. But yeah, that ride, so good. Like, it's definitely one of my favorite RMCs out there. Highly recommended.
I probably would have ranked this behind X2 if it didn't duel, but because it did, I flat out love this one. As with other RMCs, you're going to get that trademark ejector airtime and the smooth, thrilling inversions. But when you're racing another train, the whole thing is a big, juicy adrenaline rush that will leave a lasting impression on you. The way the tracks interact with each other is phenomenal, and that Top Gun stall is bound to blow your mind. There's no question in my mind that getting a dueling ride on Twisted Colossus was one of the best ride experiences I've ever had. Twisted Colossus gets an A+. To sum it all up, I can't wait to return to Six Flags Magic Mountain and to all of the thrills it has to offer. Thanks for watching, everyone. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe. You can follow me on social media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or you can check out my website at themeparkcrazy.com. This is Theme Park Crazy, and I'll see you all next time.